What is going on, guys? We are back with another video today, and we are in the stats and awards of our Rams online user franchise. Of course, today we will be looking at the stats and awards of the players and teams around the league. Obviously, the season is over, but that's only the regular season, as we have the postseason still, and I'm excited. Hopefully, you guys are as well. We ended up as the 6th best team in the league, apparently 13-3, of course. These are our rankings for offense: 7,247 yards total, 6,400 on offense, 4,881 on passing, 1,555 on rushing, 54 pass, 21 rush touchdowns, 219 first down. So average points per game, we had the most by 0.5. Absolute cheeser, that's what they say. Looking at the rushing numbers, we were, there's two teams with 2,000. Interesting. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Let's not talk about it. 13, 14, 15, 16. So middle of the pack for rushing, but number 2 for passing. So not a bad season at all, obviously. As far as passing touchdowns go, we were number 1. And then rushing, we were pretty close. We were like 7 or 8. Defensively now, we were a very good defense. We almost allowed under 300 total points. I don't know what the average is or the best all-time is outside of, when the league was under 16 games, but this is a pretty good season defensively for us. We came up with only 3,400 yards passing allowed, which is 4th best. And then as far as rushing, we were also 4th best. So yards alone, we were, technically 4th best. If you average it, though, we were 2nd best as far as points allowed, number 1. So you can make your argument for number 1 defense, debatably with the Browns here. We had the 6th best sack numbers, which is pretty good considering we didn't have Ibukam for a good portion of the season. And then Chris Jones was also out for quite a bit. That's a lot of money. That's like 20, 30 mil pretty much of cap space not playing on your defense. You come up with 43 sacks, 8 fumbles recovered, which puts us around middle of the league. And then interceptions puts us at 5th in the league. That's really all we care about, though. No one really cares about any of the other stats. Now we go on to our seasonal stats. Jared Goff, just under 5,000 yards, which is still hell of a season. 69% completion percentage, 130.5, which I think is best in the league. I can't tell. 12.6 yards per attempt, 79 passing long, 19 times sacked, which is actually really good, and only 653 downs played. So we got in and out on offense. Just I'm not going to make any mama jokes. 53 touchdowns, 20 interceptions. Interceptions a little high, but if you take away like the 3 games where we had like 4+ or 3+, it drops quite a bit. So a little inflated in the bad side. As far as rushing goes, I know it's early to talk about it, but I want to draft a new running back because honestly, I just did not feel comfortable running the ball with our backups. Calais was pretty good. He was like the shining light of our running back situation, but even he has only 82 carrying. Didn't feel super confident with him. His juke ability is not great. His stamina's low. It's worrisome having him there. And then even though Jamal does have high carrying, he has fumbled for us in really big situations a lot. And obviously he's very slow. So maybe put a little bit of money into free agency at the position if we can afford it. If not, probably the draft. Akers, though, over 1,000 yards on 6.1 yards per carry. 17 big boys. With 3 fumbles, which, the fumbles big deal. He did take a hit stick and fumble, so I don't want that to happen. But, if he fumbles on something he can't really control, I ain't going to, blame him. As far as the longest run, 82 yards after contact, 238 with 23 broken tackles. As far as receiving, Howard, the big man on campus, 71 catches, 15-12 for yards, 15 touchdowns, 100.8 yards per game, which is really impressive. I mean, you compare that to the rest, it's not even close. Run after the catch, 318, which is pretty good, I suppose, for a tight end. Run after the catch, average, 4.5. Longest reception, 57. And, of course, he was benched one of the games. Was he benched 2 games, I believe? I think he was benched 2 games, but maybe he came in on special teams or something. I don't know. But 653 downs played. Byers, look at the impressive numbers from Byers. Had the least amount of downs played of the big 4, and yet came up with the 2nd best season. 1,020 yards average, no one cares about that. The average per reception's a little bit lower than I'd expect, though, even though, he's the slot guy, more of a dependable first down gainer on third, I suppose. 13 touchdowns, right after the catch, 215. Pretty average stuff, around 300 yards there. Rambo just under 1,000. We knew we were going to miss that with 13 touchdowns. Cooper Kupp, 767 with 9 touchdowns. He had a really good start to the season, but then I was like, you know what? Kupp's getting older. We'll use him as the dependable guy rather than the true number one, do-it-all, throw to him only kind of guy, because we need to develop players around him. Cooper Kupp's ability has never been in question. It's the guys around him that I felt have been too lacking for us to really take in the next step and go and maybe win a Super Bowl. As far as blocking goes, gotta love those numbers. Really good numbers. I really didn't feel like this season we had too many players that, there are too many times where we got sacked instantly, or, I wasn't expecting it to get there. A lot of coverage sacks. I really like the way the offensive line played, obviously, this season. As far as tackles go, Julian Boss absolutely had himself a boss of a season. Maybe he goes to star. I'm not sure. It'd be really awesome if he does, because I don't expect DevUps at all, ever, unless it's an offensive player. As far as sacks go, OA. I think it's Owa, but I think it's OA, but I always call him Owa. 8 sacks. I wish it would have been a little bit better this year. Ibukam, really good, considering, once again, how many games did he miss? He missed at least 3, probably 4. Came up with 8. Chris Jones was out for a tremendous amount of time, 6, maybe 7 games. Only 299 downs, played 3 sacks, but we don't care about the sacks as much as the run stops. That's the reason. If it was all about sacks, I wouldn't have brought Chris Jones in, simply put, because I'd rather just go for a corner, and that would actually probably mean more for sacking the quarterback than an extra DT. I want to stop the run, and we've struggled there. As far as interceptions go, we had a couple of guys with some numbers. Ramsey with 8, Burgess with 8, Josh Jackson with 7, Griffin, who didn't really play that much starting snaps until we decided, you know what? I wouldn't say maybe it's time for Rapp to go because we just signed him, but I think it's time for Griffin to stay back there. Tall, fast, decent hit power, and I think we have a very bright future with this young man. Mathis, not a bad season considering, his snaps are definitely way down. He's a lot more snaps than I thought, but I thought they'd be way down comparatively. Julian Boss with 3 interceptions. We used him a decent bit, but we usually use our, move our user around a little bit. Couple of picks elsewhere, random ones like Ibukam and Oa, whatever. Tucker McCann, 1 missed field goal. I don't know where this would have been, though. Seems like a long one, so there's that. Missed 3 extra points. Punting, Jack Fox, 42.8. Let's go to look at the Lions now, because I want to compare it. Yeah, Johnny Hekker, way better. I miss my boy. My boy. Where is my boy? Wow, we really sucked in 2021. Jesus. But man, I miss my guy, Jonathan Hekker. And it turns out we could have afforded him. Oh, it's so painful. It is what it is. Was this not the season that Van Jefferson had a kick return touchdown? No? Okay, fair enough. Let's take a look at the league stats now, because that's half the fun in my opinion, because I don't really look at this too much until afterwards just to see what's going on. If I have a chance at an award I really want, maybe I'll look, but as much as I would love Jared Goff to get MVP because he gets extra, he gets like 10K for MVP, I wasn't necessarily gunning for it. I was really gunning for the wide receivers mainly, because if I was gunning for it, I wouldn't have ran in 17 rushing touchdowns with Akers, who is already an X factor and all that, and he's really high overall and still has a huge ceiling. But most yards in the league goes to Jared Goff. Touchdowns, I think Tua may have had more than that. As far as touchdowns, no, he didn't. So say what I want, but Goff did have a lot. Murray with the picks, though. There's a lot of interceptions thrown. It's Madden. Our league is like, your corners are locked down in this one. Herbert, who almost had MVP, got benched for some sort of drug overdose, I think. We're doing it for his own safety. I don't know what happened, but he definitely didn't play all of his games. I also believe Jared Goff may need to be benched or whatever. We'll get into it next season. Not worried about it right now. But yeah, completion percentage, we were the second best team right behind, or second best quarterback right behind Herbert. As far as yards per game goes, second place to Mr. Mahomes, just slightly behind him. So Patrick Mahomes was benched a lot. Jesus. As far as passer rating goes, Jared Goff with the highest applicable passer rating of 130.5. Herbert not too far behind, same with Watson and Hurts. As far as yards per attempt go, a very misleading stat. We had the most of all the guys that are eligible, but once again, very misleading. This this doesn't mean what it does. Well, I mean, I guess it kind of, if your passing game is a conservative short passing game, your numbers will be in general lower, but because it's higher or because it's lower, it doesn't guarantee that, oh, it's because you throw the ball deep all the time, or, oh, you only throw short, because we do have a lot of plays where, a 15-yard drag or slant goes for 30 or 40. That counts as an attempt, so can't really, tell all. But at the same time, we have the most in the league. We're the best deep passing team in the freaking league, boy. No one could say we're conservative. What? Deshaun Watson with the longest. None of that really matters too much. Watching that, he's like, oh, man. Most sacks, 49 times sacked. So that offensive line appears to have caught up with Samuel, unfortunately for him. The least amount sacked of the guys that are, kind of applicable to this would be, I suppose, Justin Herbert with 4,600 yards and only 12 times sacked. A couple of our guys, we're near that as well. As far as rushing, the rushing numbers, I think as far as our rushing sliders, our blocking sliders, I think they're pretty decent. We would see way worse numbers than this in past Madden, so I think this is fair. We only had 8 is that? 9. Very similar to real life yardage for the season. J.K. Dobbins was the highest rushing leader of the league, with McFarland right behind him. Jones, Emery, Breida, Barkley, Gurley, McCaffrey, Akers, and then Elliott. The best yards per carry, though, goes to the true best running back of the league, Lamar Jackson. Dobbins, 7.4, really good season there. Miles Sanders, 7.2. McFarley, this one's a little bit tougher because there are some guys, 400 or 500 yards. They, kind of count, right? They kind of counts. As far as touchdowns go, though, Emery with 21 touchdowns, Akers with 17 of them. As far as fumbles go, 10 fumbles. A lot of fumbles for these guys. How many did Goff have? 6? Yeah, that's kind of a lot, too. The longest rush of the season was Master Teague with 99. Downs played. Who had the most downs played? Well, that doesn't really count, does it? It's going to be all quarterbacks, isn't it? This is irrelevant. Let's go to the receivers. Speaking of, D.D. Westbrook. Is it D.D. or Day-Day? I don't know. The only guy higher than us for yards. I don't think that matters for deving up. I think it's all about tight end matchups. But the thing I worry about is those catches, man. That's what cucked us of one last year. It's probably going to happen again, isn't it? But yards, 1529 for Westbrook, 1512 for Howard, 1479 for Kelsey, and you can see it goes down from there. A lot of 1,000-yard guys here, obviously. Very, very good stuff for the league. I mean, maybe not good for stuff for the league, but good numbers, I suppose. Can't really talk about it unsubjectively. As far as the best yards per reception goes, John Ross, the speedster, with almost 30 yards per catch. Crazy. It's almost like people tell me that speed doesn't matter. It's almost like all the guys at the highest yards per catch are super fast guys, and they're on the top of the list in the league for yards and touch. Nothing. We're not gonna. That's not an argument for another day. QT with 16 touchdowns. We get cucked out by 1 or 2 on a different couple of stats here. As far as run after the catch goes, Kelsey with 540. Nothing really too much over 500 yards. The longest of the season was Brick Kelly, the former quarterback, with 90. Nico Collins with 89. Some interesting names there, because I'm pretty sure both of those guys are pretty slow. Blocking, I mean, this is super misleading unless it's a tackle. Oh, did he play 7? I mean, that's pretty good for Durant. If you're a tackle and you played a lot of snaps, his guy looks like I'm going to have to put his name on the list for top tier players, in my opinion, honestly. As far as the most sacks allowed goes, Tyler Vrabel with 25. Damn, and I almost traded for Trent Brown with 16. That seems like a lot, no? As far as tackles go, yeah, I don't think Boss is really going to be comparable to all these guys, but he's only going from normal to star, so maybe he can get away with it. But Trey Maine, Edmonds over 100, same with Bond, Baker, Skipper, Davis, Jacoby Stevens, and Surratt. Well, he's not over 100, he's at 100, but still, same difference. Looking at the tackles for a loss, a pretty big stat. Jermaine Edmonds had a very, very solid season, even 7 interceptions for Brickhands McGee himself. Javen White, guy we skipped on for Tucker McCann. I can't say it was a bad decision. It was a bad decision because obviously he's killing it. Ben Davis, the middle linebacker, sounds like a basketball player for some reason. Sack totals, Harold Landry with 16. Roche, the guy that I feel like that I've played this season, is the best pass rusher in the league, which I love to see because I don't want to see these pre-made players. You know, he developed him on his own, and I don't know if Swim Club's a great ability, but it doesn't really seem like he has great pass rushing abilities. I think we've already seen this, but I mean, he crushed us. He crushed us. Donald, you know, like pre-made. I still love him, but you know, it's just it hits differently when it's a guy that's created, or you know, Harold Landry's kind of on that par, right? In my opinion. Chase on, what's his dev? Superstar development trait, very solid player. What's his abilities? Strip specialist and adrenaline rush. Interesting. A couple of guys with double digits. Yeah, nothing too major. Very fair numbers. I love it. I love our balancing in the league for sacks. Interceptions, on the other hand, we've always had issues with, so big deal, I guess. Yeah, that's pretty much that. I guess we'll take a look at deflection. So 25 for Edmonds, who is normal still. Could see himself as star development trait up. I suppose Asante Samuel Jr., superstar development trait. Acrobat, wow, what abilities. Acrobat and one step ahead. Cheese, man, cheese. Well, let's take a look at fumbles now. I almost let those go. Forced fumbles, we had 7 as the highest for Mr. J.J. Watt. And the most reception or recoveries is 3. And let's see, blocks. I mean, that's not going to be very high. Touchdowns, there's that. And then touchdowns, 5 for Eddie Humphrey. Interesting, 5. That's a lot. Now we move on to kicking. We're almost to the awards. Best kicking percentage, Jake Elliott, Boswell, Pinheiro, all with 100%. A couple of guys nearby that. The longest of the league was Tucker for 61. Elliott with 60. You know I have a special place in my heart for Elliott, obviously. Field goal block. 1 field goal blocked all season. That's kind of an L. If you're the only guy getting blocked on the whole season, that needs to stick with you, honestly. Punting, I mean, if you guys really care about these. The Townsends on the top tier list. A couple of blocked punts, which, you know, surprising. I thought it'd be more blocked. I mean, probably a lot of extra points blocked, in fairness. But touchbacks, 9 for Townsend. The longest punt was 73. Kick returns, how many are we going to see for this? So a couple of guys over 1,000. Nothing too crazy. 4 touchdowns returning as far as punt returns. 2 for Gainwell, who is a running back. Interesting. I thought he was no, he isn't a power back. I made that mistake once before. And there is that. So let's go on to the awards. And that's pretty much it until next episode. Jalen Hurts, the MVP of the league. The rushing numbers, that's what held him up. If Jared Goff was a little bit faster, maybe he would have had a shot. But overall, the young gun, Jalen Hurts, gets it. Herbert at number 2, Goff at 3, 2 at 4, Jackson, Emery, Stone, Dobbins, Love, and Lawrence below that. Coach of the Year, were we on the list? Number 6. Interesting names there. Take a look at the AFC side first. So a couple of Titans on the list, a couple of Steelers on the list too. Defensive Player of the Year goes to Delpit. Really surprised Edmonds didn't get this. I think Delpit had like 15 picks, though. That's probably why. I would have given my vote for Edmonds just based on the numbers I seen. Offensive Rookie of the Year goes to Desmond Howard, the wide receiver. Defensive Rookie of the Year goes to Nate McBride, 72 overall. What position does he play? I have no idea. But here's some of these guys. Quarterback. Herbert was the best quarterback. Jalen Hurts, like I said, those rushing numbers, that's what gave him MVP. So at least in their side, I suppose they had, Herbert didn't win MVP, but he gets best QB, which is also a decent bit of XP anyway. So works out over there, I suppose. Hopefully it works out for us too. Dobbins, best running back. We've seen that, it was pretty obvious. McFarland at number 2. Singletary, nice to see like a, kind of an underdog story there, getting up on the list. Desmond Howard, best wide receiver as a rookie. Some Justin Jefferson business, obviously. Interesting to see. O-line, pretty expected names. It's not going to go by how well they played. It's going to go by, how high their overall is. J.J. Watt, best D lineman, best linebacker, goes to Edmonds. At least Tremaine Edmonds gets something for his efforts, right? At least he's got something going for him. DB, Delpit, of course, the Defensive Player of the Year. Would be really shocking to not see him on that list. And then, of course, Boswell, I believe the only 100% kicker on the AFC side, just from what my memory tells me. Offensive Player of the Year, Jared Goff. Look at this, my boy, Jared Goff. Akers at number 4. Couple of Panthers, couple of Packers. Defensive Player of the Year, obviously Lance James himself, with like a billion picks. Donald at number 9. A couple Buccaneers on the list. Offensive Rookie of the Year. Who the hell did we have? I don't even know if we had an offensive rookie starting. Defensive Rookie of the Year, Ben Davis. Jamal Hill, the safety. And then right close behind is Mr. Julian Boss at number 3. Little surprised that Mathis is number 7, whereas Griffin was technically better, right? I just maybe didn't have the tackles, didn't play as much. And then, of course, best quarterback goes to Jared Goff. Very interesting to see the quarterback class in the NFC. Quarterbacks were very interesting this season, to say the least. Running back, Emery with all those touchdowns. Akers right behind. Had a pretty decent season himself. A couple other guys we recognize from the stats. Johnny Johnson, best wide receiver. Wayne Byers, number 2. And Rambo at 5. I will spoil it. Rambo somehow, as the 5th best wide receiver, did not make the Pro Bowl. So that's a little bit of an L. And the unfortunate part is none of the guys ahead of him can make the Super Bowl. So there's no chance for him to make the Pro Bowl. So it's just an unfortunate story. O-line, we've got some names. David Bakhtiari, number 1. Linder at 2. Lane Johnson at 3. Hudson, O'Neal, and Fa Alele at number 6. Then you can see Linderbaum at number 8. We got an offensive line on us, boys. Rams, number 1, D. Lyman. Donald winning that award every single season. Linebacker, away at number 8. I love it. DBs, Jamal Hill, the youngster, at number 1. And then Ramsey at number 9. McCann at 3, but Elliott number 1 with 100% kicking accuracy. Same with Pinheiro. And that's pretty much it. We don't have any upgrades to work with, unfortunately. So that is going to be the stats and awards for the season. Hopefully you guys enjoyed. Definitely more Rams football to come. Obviously, we have the freaking postseason. So what are you worried about? Come back. Don't leave. Well, you can leave, but come back. Anyways, if you've enjoyed this season, or maybe you've enjoyed this video, because you get to see a little insight of the other teams around the league, maybe leave a like, maybe subscribe. Follow me on Twitter, Jeromepkr, second channel PK Plays, and who knows, maybe on twitch.tv/JeromePKR we'll be live tonight on with a stream of some sort. Who knows? Anyways, thanks for watching. Hopefully you guys come back for next video, but until next video, see ya!